All right, everyone, let's get this party started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the second annual State of the Pike. The State of the Pike is co-hosted by the Pike President's Group, or PPG, and the Columbia Pike Partnership. My name is Adam Henderson. I am chair of the Pike President's Group. For those of you who don't know, the Pike President's Group is comprised of 10 civic associations up and down Columbia Pike. And to talk a little bit more about the Columbia Pike Partnership, it is now my distinct honor to introduce Shannon Bailey, the board chair of Columbia Pike Partnership. Shannon.
Thanks, Adam. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see everyone here. As Adam mentioned, my name is Shannon Bailey. I am the board chair of the Columbia Pike Partnership this year. We're excited to have you all here. For those of you who don't know, I think many of you do, our office is located along the Pike in the same space as a Black Heritage Museum of Arlington. So some of our team members are there today, and it's very exciting for us to be able to, Kim is there in the space, to be in the same home as this space. On behalf of our team and the board members, we want to welcome you to the event today. For the Columbia Pike Partnership, our goal is to create an authentic, exciting, and accessible Columbia Pike community. We want social, ethnic, and economic diversity to thrive. So events like today really help us to create an environment that facilitates that. So much of what we do is convening and partnering with groups in and around our community. And so events like today really do help make this mission possible. So with that, I want to hand it back over to Adam. And Adam, thank you for moderating us today.
Thank you, Shannon. This event is very important to our community as it enables us to come together regularly, review challenges we faced, the gains and progress we've made, and what our collective plans are for the future. To provide a little bit more background, I'd like to introduce and please give a warm welcome to County Board Chair Christian Dorsey.
Good morning, and thank you, Adam, for that introduction. And it's my pleasure to see you all at this second annual State of the Pike event. This is certainly going to be the second of what will be an ongoing annual conversation about Columbia Pike. And even though over the course of the next several years, some of the people who are occupying leadership positions may be changing, what will remain is a steadfast commitment to seeing that the Pike fulfills its ongoing transition to being a vibrant, transformative community, even more so than it is right now. I have been a long-term Pike resident since 2008, and like many of you who are currently living or engaged in commerce on the Pike, you know of the ongoing frustrations as we have to find detours to get to our destinations easily, as we suffer perhaps damage to our vehicles, experience time delays in moving from point A to point B. And although this can be a source of frustration, I do want to remind us all that much like anything, before you can have a fully realized, built vision of what you've been working towards, you've got to go through some pain to get there. And, the infrastructure that we have developed along the Pike is going to truly be transformative. And I'm not just talking about the multimodal project. As we think about land use planning, which has brought new residents to our community, providing new opportunities for people to live in innovative buildings and structures and develop micro communities along the Pike that represent the diversity and inclusiveness of our already diverse world in a zip code. As we think about the transformative efforts in partnership to secure the Barcroft parcel, 60 plus acres, to ensure that it can be a model community, not just for Arlington, but for the region. As we think about what is now the very mature Arlington Mill Community Center and the incredibly vibrant opportunities it brings to the western end of Columbia Pike, soon to be joined near the eastern end, or at least in Central Pike, with a new Columbia Pike Library and a new career center parcel. We are going to be building the infrastructure that is truly going to live up to the values and the vision that the Pike Partnership has been pursuing for years, and the county is just so privileged to be a part of it. And thank you again for the opportunity to be here on this occasion to declare, as the president did just a couple of nights ago, that the state of the Pike is quite strong and will continue to be stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. All right, I'd like to move on to kind of just an overview of how today will be structured, how this session will be structured. So we will be hearing over the next little while from 6 different departments within Arlington County government. Each of them will have 5 minutes for an overview of what they're doing. We'll come back in after that and give you some instructions, because we will have breakout sessions with each of these 6 departments. And then we'll come back together at the end for a summary and wrap. Up today, but I do want to let everyone know that both the Pike Presidents Group and the Columbia Pike Partnership are working with the Arlington County Police and in contact with them. And as we get more information about some of these recent incidents, we will be sharing that with both the residential and the business community along the Pike. Next slide. So, next slide, please. There we go. Just a few quick reminders, everyone. While the presentations are being made, please stay on mute. Please use the chat functions to comment or question anything that you have. We will be addressing questions during the breakout sessions later after everyone gives their presentation. And of course, we are recording this, and the presentations and the recordings will be made available publicly probably by tomorrow or the day after. So with that said, let's move to one last thing. Partnerships matter. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. PPG and Columbia Pike Partnership are partners. And if you are not a partner of Columbia Pike, we encourage you to do so either during this session today or later in the afternoon when you get a chance. Columbia Pike is our home, and together we make it better. All right, without further ado, I'd like to start today with Arlington Economic Development. Arlington Economic Development will be hearing from Business Launch, Arlington Arts, and Stay Arlington. And we'll kick things off. I'd like to introduce Ryan Toohill. Ryan Toohill is the new director of Arlington Economic Development. He comes to us from Alexandria Economic Development and has been on the ground for just a few months, but he's already making big strides. Please welcome Ryan.
Thank you, Adam, Kim, and Shannon, for the opportunity to come meet with you today. If we go ahead and just jump to the next slide, I thought it would be helpful to start by giving a brief overview, just a little bit about what I've been learning and thinking about here. I'm in my 3rd month at AED. It's been an exciting and really fun job so far, and I love getting out and meeting with our community groups and partnerships to talk about our vision and priorities for economic development. So let me just begin by talking a little bit about kind of 3 concepts that I'm bringing to this role based on my experience in Alexandria. And the kind of title here says it all, that business success means community success. And what I mean by that is when our business community is thriving, when they're prospering, that is directly helping the county make the investments that you just heard Chair Dorsey talk about. When we have robust businesses in our county, we see economic prosperity both at the individual level and at the business level. And that's really then driving investments in our quality of life. The second kind of principle that I talk a lot about is that sustained economic growth really takes partnerships. And I think that's a great example today is this event. We have our county partners meeting with our business and community partners to really drive the conversation around economic growth in the future. And then the last piece is about really striving for inclusive economic development. And what I mean by that is economic development across all sectors of our economy at all levels, whether it's small business or big business, and in every corner of the county. We really need to be focused on growth as far and wide across the county as possible. If we go to the next slide, please. But we all, I think, know, and we've been reading the news and we live this every day, that we face some pretty unprecedented challenges. And some of those things we can't control, whether we have a recession or not, or whether where interest rates go, those are a little bit out of our control here at the local level. But some of the things are very much within our control. And so some top priorities as issues that we're looking at and looking to solve at AED are things like our return to office and our office vacancy. That's we're at historic levels right now in the county, and we really are working to try to address that issue from multiple angles, because it's not, there is no silver bullet to addressing that challenge. And so we're looking at everything from our commercial market resiliency efforts that are focused on allowing more uses in office, to making sure that our business investment team is talking to companies in industries that align with Arlington and it could have a great opportunity to grow here. So it's a very multifaceted solution that we're looking to put in place, and we'll continue to talk about that certainly throughout the year ahead. Our shortage in talent here in the DMV is something that is affecting all industries. And so we have started a pilot program this year to address the shortage of tech talent by providing opportunities for Arlington residents who want to grow their skills in the technology field, and then put them into a program that would allow for experiential learning and an opportunity for them to get a career here in Arlington. So that's one example of how we're trying to address that issue. And then I'll wrap up by saying our small business recovery and tourism recovery continues to be a top priority as well. From the small business issue, you'll hear from Tara in a moment about our relaunch program, which is helping businesses make that leap from that digital divide, with either help creating websites or providing other technical support to the businesses so they can be positioned for growth in this post-pandemic economy. And our tourism team, which you'll hear from today, is also going to talk about all of the things they're doing and to help drive additional overnight stays. So we have some exciting things that are going to be rolling out in the next couple of months. And finally, I'll just say you'll hear from our team at Arlington Arts about some of the really interesting things they're doing to help not just support the arts community, but really drive kind of creative placemaking across the county, which is really important. Neighborhoods like Columbia Pike and our other neighborhoods and business districts are better when they're active and vibrant, and there's people who both want to come there every day to work, or when they live there can go out and take advantage of the things that are happening in their community. So we'll hear a little bit about some of the work that Arlington Arts is doing in that area. I'll just wrap my opening remarks by saying that economic development is everybody's business here in Arlington, and these are some of the examples of partners that we've been meeting with over the past few months. I'm glad to be here with the Columbia Pike Partnership today. And I am open to meeting as many people as I can to hear about the issues that are impacting the business community, and to also help talk about solutions to some of our big challenges. So if you are interested in meeting with us, I'd encourage you to reach out after today's session, and we'd be happy to find the time to talk and meet and figure out how we can partner to help drive economic growth and prosperity here in Arlington. So let me touch base real quick on our commercial market resiliency efforts. This is something that we're doing in partnership with CPHD, and it's really an initiative that started last year, and it's really to drive some changes in our zoning regulations to allow for more flexibility for what uses can be allowed in office buildings. And you see some examples on the screen here of uses that the board has already approved and made changes to our zoning regulations, whether now allowing maker spaces or urban farms or breweries or distilleries or even animal boarding in office buildings. And this is an example of how we're trying to think different about these real estate assets in our community. You know, if we can put things in place like animal boarding or breweries and distilleries and create that vibrancy in a building, that's helpful to the whole neighborhood. It's helpful to the small businesses that surround those buildings. It's helpful to our hotel and hospitality industry because it gives a reason for people to come to these places. We're still working very hard to fill office buildings through traditional ways, through companies, particularly ones that aren't located here in the region. But this is one example of how we're trying to think differently. And we really appreciate the partnership with CPHD and the county manager's office and the county board to help kind of drive some new thinking here when it comes to our office space and solving that office vacancy problem. That's it from me. I think we're now going to go over to Tara, who I think might be online. Hopefully is online. I know she was having some computer issues. Okay, so Tara is going to talk to you a little bit about some of the small business initiatives we're working on. Tara?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. And can everybody hear me? Okay.
We sure can.
Thank you. I am not where I was expecting to be because my whole computer blew up right before we started. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for learning a little bit more about what we're doing in the small business realm. Biz Launch, for those that don't know, it's really a curated program within Arlington Economic Development that seeks to really help small businesses grow, thrive, and do really, really well here in the community. We offer education, counseling, marketing toolkits, business directories, networking, whatever small businesses need. We really want to make sure that you're our one-stop shop. One thing I did notice in the chat was somebody asked about hub zones and getting involved and how assistance with that, and we can help with that. That's some of the things that we do at Biz Launch. We work really closely with our friends at the Small Business Administration. We're familiar with a lot of the hub zones that are in the area and would be honored to be able to help you go through that process. So for the next slide, I'm really excited about our relaunch program. This was an initiative that was started to help businesses withstand and survive the pandemic. And it was built to help bridge also the digital divide and being able to provide resources to strengthen small businesses and to help them succeed during some unprecedented times. I will say that with our partnership with Columbia Pike, we've had the largest applicant pool has been from Columbia Pike in 22204. We've been able to assist and help tons of businesses. The primary need is, of course, it continues to be marketing and branding, but one of the things that we're seeing that's been different is financial management and folks really needing access to capital. It's just about even with still pivoting to being online and to have online sales. We've been working with people really specifically for them to be able to compete in this new normal as people aren't shopping or buying things as they normally would. Some of the industries that we're seeing the highest are in food services, retail, but also a lot of consultants, people that have been subject matter experts in their fields, and they really desire to go on and do this on their own and independent. So we've been really happy with the results of relaunch. And for the next slide, you all may have heard of our Open Rewards program. That's also something that has been really, really well beloved in our Columbia Pike community. We launched it on Small Business Saturday, and it really was rewarding individuals for shopping local. We made it very simple in that we uploaded all the businesses. Businesses didn't have to do much, or if they didn't see their name listed, they could easily list themselves. We'll go real fast. But I just want you guys to know that of that, we've had over 6,400 transactions. 80% of the consumers that participated said that because of this program, they shop local. It's given us a $44,000 economic impact with a spend of under $2,000. We go to the next one. Because of the success of our Open Rewards program, and it still continues to be around, we're also going to be offering a directory for our businesses as well that has some of those great bells and whistles. One thing I do want to recommend to everybody is to please take advantage of our market research databases. We have cultivated and built them. They are free to you. We are paying for them in our budget, but they are free to you. Demographics Now, IBIS World, Statista, and our newest one, Open Grant, is a way for you to be able to find grants, whether you're a small business or a nonprofit. You create a dashboard and you can find opportunities. Not only that, you can be assigned someone to help you navigate and to respond to these grants for free. And so the next slide is about watch this space, because we have a directory that is coming very, very soon. And I think, I don't know, it hasn't gone to that next. Oh no, there's no more slides. That is me. I was talking fast at the end, but I got it all in. So thank you guys so much. We adore working with our friends at Columbia Pike. The business community is amazing, and we are here for the long term, and I look forward to speaking with everybody in the breakout rooms. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tara. We appreciate it. Next up is Arlington Cultural Affairs, today represented by Josh Stoltzfus, Deidre McWilliams, and Jim Byers.
Yeah, I think at least in terms of that picture, it might be Josh Stoltzfus's younger son. That shot was taken on the very first day that I started on the county, which is coming up on 11 years in September. So a new headshot. Thank you, Kim, and everybody for having us here. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'll just reiterate what Tara just said, that working on the Pike is one of the great joys of the work that we do here. Has always been an extremely receptive audience for the programs that we have done and continue to do. So excited about our history, but also what's in store for us here. The mission for Cultural Affairs Division is to create, support, and promote the arts, connecting artists and community to reflect the diversity of Arlington. In practice, what does that mean? Those are three buckets, basically. Create. This is all the stuff that we produce in-house and execute and present all over the county. Festivals, concerts, the Arlington Art Truck out in the community, going to various locations for interactive art installations, poetry programs like Moving Words, The Poet Is In, and the extensive and award-winning public art program that we have all over the county. That's the create piece of what we're doing. Support, that manifests itself in a lot of different ways, but one of the primary ways is through our grants program for individual artists and arts organizations. It also includes technical and production support for programs, rehearsal space, performance spaces, professional development training through the Arts Enterprise Institute. So touching the arts and artists and way people encounter the arts in Arlington all through the continuum of arts expression that are here, both on the very local all the way up to the very professional level as well. And then promote. This is an important piece, obviously. If we're doing programs and no one knows about them, then that presents a very unique challenge. So we're very lucky to have a substantial social media presence, almost 17,000 people opt-in email list, and a lot of earned media and media partnerships. Partnerships like that we have frequently with programs like the Columbia Pike Blues Festival that we've had recently with WERA, WTOP. These promotions are meant to sweep up everything that we do, not just cultural affairs, but all of the arts in Arlington. So if you see a newsletter, you might see, well, the art truck's going to be here and this festival is happening, but this community group is doing something in this part of the county, and we also have training session over here. So we seek to promote the entire continuum of arts here in Arlington through that promotional tool. Some of the programs that'll be coming out to the Pike, April 16th, we have the Arlington Art Truck will be out at the the Columbia Pike Farmers Market. That's one of the earliest activations in the season, which will run from April through October. The Art Truck, if you haven't experienced it before, is an interactive artist in residence studio that has anywhere from 3 to 4 different programs throughout the season. And the strategy that is very important for us and central to the Art Truck is that it goes where people already are. So farmers markets like on the Pike will be at the Blues Festival as well, street festivals, community events, civic association events, some of the other flagship events you'll find around the county, Clarendon Day, maybe out at Roslyn Jazz Festival. This makes it easy in terms of access for the community to get involved because we're going where they already are, as opposed to a more traditional model asking people to come to us. Next slide, please. Columbia Pike Blues Festival. This has been a tremendous honor for me and the team to work on over the years. I think the Cultural Affairs Division has been involved in this flagship Arlington event for at least 10 years, probably going back a little further. We are involved in every aspect of this event, including production support, bringing the mobile stage out for the program, for the marketing. As I said, media partnerships recently have included WERA, WTOP, and all the other channels of support that we provide. And then also programming, ensuring that we have a diverse lineup of artists that represent the full spectrum of blues expression from both the national and the international touring level, regional here to the DMV, and hyperlocal here then for Arlington as well. The slide here, last year, hopefully you were there, 25th anniversary, Shamika Copeland was a tremendous success, probably one of the most successful we've been in. And looking forward to this year as well. We're starting to finish up the lineup and should have that publicized in April. That's June 17th, if you don't already have that on your calendar, for what is Truth in Advertising, Arlington's best neighborhood block party that you will be able to attend. Next slide, please. Getting into the support piece of what we do, as I mentioned, the grants is a large piece of what we do in cultural affairs, distributing almost $250,000 to artists and arts organizations throughout the annual cycle. And there's a very exciting new grant that has just come online and is published now. Jim Byers is here, our Director of Marketing, stepping in for our grants administrator, Sharon Rayfield, who was out. And Jim is going to tell us a quick synopsis of this opportunity for Arlington artists and arts organizations. Jim.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me and see me? Fantastic. As Josh said, no, Sharon did not lose all her hair. Sharon could not be here today, but I'm happy to be here in her stead. I'm Jim Byers. I'm Marketing Director for Cultural Affairs. And the PLACE grant, which Josh was just referencing, is a really exciting opportunity. Arlington has been truly leaning into equity and inclusion, and that's what this grant is all about. And that's really what Columbia Pike embodies so well. It's, of course, one of the most diverse areas, not only in Arlington, but in the country. And this is a great opportunity through this grant, which is designed specifically for diverse communities and small local community initiated projects in order to help them thrive. The PLACE grant, it stands for Promoting Local Arts and Community Equity. And it really does just that. There are, for those of you who may have thought of writing an arts grant before, you know that arts grants typically can be a little involved. This grant is specifically simplified to really be broadly accessible. There are, I believe, 8 questions, possibly 9, not including your name and address and basic information. So it's not like writing a novel. And it's really designed to try to create partnerships. It's a great opportunity for community groups, or say maybe a church. They're thinking, wow, we have this wonderful space. How could we bring the community in? If there is a local group of community-specific individuals who want to preserve an art form. This could be an opportunity for that. We also are partnering with the Historic Preservation Unit. And so there's a grant that sort of mirrors this. So for those grants that fall into those opportunities, this grant could also dovetail into opportunities with historic preservation. So for information, the grant application is due by April 28th. There will be 6 grants in the amount of $15,000. And so it's a wonderful opportunity. We're happy to talk more about it in the breakout session. And for questions, you can contact Sharon Raphael at her email, which is sraphael, RAPHAEL, at arlingtonva.us. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jim. And
Hi. I'm
Deirdre.
Deirdre. Yeah, I'm with Public Art, and I'm going to be really mindful of time and quickly move through these projects. One here, which is currently and almost fully installed, part of the Columbia Pike transit stations, which DES will talk about later. The artist Spencer Finch was selected through a process that involved the civic associations along Columbia Pike. And the design is influenced also by color memories that we collected from residents of Columbia Pike. And I'm just going to read 2 memories that I think are really powerful. And if you have other questions about the artwork, you can hit me up in one of the breakout sessions. One memory that we collected is I picked sort of a light orange to represent the bread that used to bake in Brenner's Bakery along Columbia Pike, a longtime stable before it closed in the early 2000s. My mom used to work there, and I remember going in as a kid and looking at all of the goodies they had for sale and wondering which one I could bring home if I was particularly lucky that day. Another memory that influenced this design is seeing the sky reflected through the windows of Arlington Mill Community Center. And as Ryan mentioned, we really do believe in placemaking in public art and engaging with community. And so it's really important that our public art projects are engaging with community. And as you can see here, had a direct result in the outcome of the design. The next project, the Pike sculpture by artist Donald Lipsky, also integrated into a DES project, the Columbia Pike Multimodal Project, which I'm sure DES will talk about later. The artist used a reclaimed wind turbine that's 50 feet in the air, and encrusted at the base of the sculpture are coins that we collected from the community. So you can see here in the photos, we have one of the coin collection stations that were at the Columbia Pike Library. You can see there a resident counting and sorting the coins, and then you can see there a detail of the coins being integrated into the artwork. The coins are twofold. One is the history of Columbia Pike as a toll road, but also celebrating Arlington as an ethnically diverse and culturally rich community. We collected 4,784 coins from 117 countries in every continent except Antarctica. I'll put these project links in the chat, so if you want to know more, you can look there, or again, ask me at the breakout session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Josh, to Deirdre, and to Jim. So next up is Stay Arlington, also known as the Arlington Convention and Visitor Service. And here to speak with us today is the director, Emily Castle. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure to see everyone again today at this very important annual event. I represent Arlington's official destination marketing organization and our wonderful team of sales, marketing, and visitor services professionals. So today I'll just share with you a brief overview of what we do, the audiences that we reach, and some examples of how we collaborate with and promote Columbia Pike partners. Most importantly, I'll tell you about the many free resources that are available to you to help you reach Arlington's millions of annual visitors. So you can stay on this slide. The main focus of the Arlington Convention and Visitor Service is to attract more visitors to the county, to encourage these visitors to stay as long as possible at our hotels, and also to inspire them to explore our neighborhoods and to visit our fantastic restaurants, stores, arts organizations, and attractions. So this economic activity generates lodging, meals, and sales taxes that help support many county programs and services. So more than $114 million in 2021. In addition to marketing to leisure and business travelers, we also promote Arlington's advantages to meeting and group planners and tour operators, both domestic and international. We also tell Arlington's unique stories to journalists and influencers from around the world, and we often host them on visits so that they can experience the county firsthand. Next slide, please. So as with all of Arlington's neighborhood partnerships and business improvement districts, our ACVS team works closely with the Columbia Pike Partnership team to promote the Pike's many one-of-a-kind experiences. So our teams meet monthly and we share news and support each other's initiatives as they relate to Arlington's visitors. We purposefully include the Pike, your unique events, themes, and stories in our Stay Arlington content, whether that's on the website, our e-newsletters, or across our social channels. And as we have resources to do things like shoot new photography and video, we love partnering with Kim, Stephen, and Andrea to feature local favorites from the Pike. Next slide, please. To get a bit more specific, here are several opportunities for hospitality-related businesses to get in front of our leisure and business traveler audiences, as well as meeting professionals. All of these are free except for paid advertising in our guides map and on the website. But I'll go through just a couple highlights right here from the slide. So on stayarlington.com, of course, we mention many businesses regularly throughout the website, but you can also do free partner listings, event listings, and deals and packages. So check out the site and definitely reach out to us and we can help you get started on that if you haven't already. We also have 3 newsletters that are monthly, so you can reach vacation audiences, meeting planners, and also our local hospitality community. A great opportunity for hotels, unique venues, and restaurants is free 360-degree videos. So please check into that. It's a great benefit we've offered for a couple of years now throughout COVID. And then, of course, we do a lot of sharing through our social channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So if you have news, just be sure to look for us at Stay Arlington. As I mentioned, we do have a promotion through the guides and maps and website. And lastly, for restaurants particularly, I want to be sure you know that we do get a lot of meeting and group planner leads for events, for catering, for boxed breakfast, boxed lunch. So, you know, please make sure to let us know if you have those offerings, if we don't already are in touch with you. So please be sure to look at the About Us link on the Stay Arlington website and you can reach out to us directly. Next slide, please, and we'll wrap it up. So when we got together here last year, the county had just received its Virginia Tourism Corporation American Rescue Plan Act Tourism Recovery Grant, which is a big mouthful, but the object of that is really to help us with sales and marketing activities, specifically to drive overnight hotel stays and spending at local businesses for COVID recovery. Since receiving that grant last year, ACVS has invested in many initiatives that are in progress, and as Ryan said, coming to fruition early this summer at the latest. 3 big efforts are coming together. One is a refresh based on research of our Stay Arlington brand, some targeted media and PR campaigns to reach our leisure, meetings, and business audiences. And these will run through June 2024, possibly beyond. And then, of course, the launch of our new Stay Arlington website. This will present many new opportunities for your businesses starting this summer. So whether it's video, photography, shoots, PR opportunities, presence in some of our ad campaigns, there are a lot of neat ways for you to get exposure through our channels for free. And then we are super excited about a separate grant that is funding the creation of a map highlighting African-American heritage experiences, as well as local Black-owned businesses in the county. So we have a wonderful team of neighborhood partners from across the county, as well as county colleagues who are working to complete this map by summer. So stay tuned for more on that. These are just some of the highlights, but thank you very much for the opportunity to give you an update, and I look forward to seeing some of you in our next breakout session. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. I'd like to move on now to Community Planning, Housing and Development, CPHD. With us today are Anthony Fusarelli and Venezia. I just want a quick reminder here. Let's try and keep to the 5 minutes because we do have a lot to get through. We want to make sure that we have adequate time for the breakout session. So Anthony and Ann, welcome.
All right. Thank you, Adam, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here today with my planning division teammates, Jennifer Smith, Matt Matuzik, and Olivia Sontag, who all support planning for the Columbia Pike corridor. And just briefly, we'll be sharing a few perspectives on the state of the Pike from our vantage point. Next slide, please. Today, I will briefly discussing the ongoing planning and development landscape along the Pike before handing it off to my colleague, Ann, for more detailed information on housing. And so along the Pike, we would say that the state of development generally remains strong. Following recently completed projects such as the Centro and Axamite Village, construction at the Westmont and Arlington View Terrace sites are continuing to add to the corridor's overall housing inventory. When considering all completed, under construction, and entitled projects depicted on this map, in nearly 2 decades, the form-based code has been leveraged to provide for up to 3,200 additional market rate and 900 additional affordable new homes in the area thus far. Then the development update map shown here truly depicts the broad geographic distribution of this new development that continues to help realize the vision of transforming this once auto-oriented corridor to a series of nodes that are more centered around people. Next slide, please. And to just showcase one current project, at its February meeting next week, the county board will consider a form-based code application at 3401 Columbia Pike involving proposed redevelopment of the Bank of America building, the intersection of Pike and South Glebe. If approved, this project would also stand to provide an additional 250 new homes above ground floor retail in the town center node. Next slide, please. Beyond housing, improvements are also planned for key civic facilities. Here we see the Career Center campus schematic design as approved by the Arlington Public School Board back in October, following earlier phases of planning. The schematic design includes the revised base education specifications for 1,550 students with a cost of approximately $182 million. We've been working with APS staff. We expect the filing of a use permit application later this month, which will then undergo a public review process, ultimately leading to public hearings by the Planning Commission and the County Board later this year. We're currently targeting, which may occur in June or thereabouts. APS is currently working to meet the use permit application requirements and deadlines, and the community is welcome to visit the APS website for the Career Center for more information. Next slide, please. In closing, I'd like to virtually introduce you all to Olivia Sontag and highlight her recent appointment as our new Columbia Pike planning corridor with our team, where she will help manage projects for us along the corridor, continuing to be supported by Matt Matuzik, who's a familiar face. We're very excited for her to be in this important role and look forward to the opportunity many of you will have in the coming months in working with her in the future. With that, thank you for the time, and I'll turn things over to Ann.
Thanks, Anthony. And I will try to talk as quickly as I can. So I am Ann Venezia, and I am the Housing Director for Arlington. And I'd like to start with an overview of housing along the Pike with an update on Barcroft. So as many of you recall, Barcroft Apartments was sold to Jair Lynch in December 2021 with support from Arlington County and Amazon. And in return for these county and Amazon resources, Gyre Lynch is committed to providing 1,334 affordable units as part of a mixed income community for 99 years. And part of the county loan agreement requirement was for Gyre Lynch to submit a Master Financing and Development Plan, or MFDP, which is a preliminary vision for the Barcroft Apartments property. And Gyre Lynch submitted their MFDP to the county manager in October 2022. Their MFDP represents months of Barcroft resident engagement and Gyre Lynch's efforts to elevate the Columbia Pike corridor while preserving and protecting the largest collection of affordable housing in Arlington County. County staff is now in the process of reviewing and analyzing Gyre Lynch's MFDP. And later this year, the county will begin community engagement related to staff review and analysis of this plan. Staff recommendations about the plans of Barcroft are anticipated to come before the county board later this year after the county engages with the community. Next slide. So taking a step back, I'm now going to provide a broader look in terms of current rental market conditions. The vacancy rate for the Pike has eased up from this time last year when it was a very tight 3.8%. So the current vacancy rate of 7.1% is a little higher than the countywide vacancy rate. And so that signals increased availability of apartments along the Pike for those who are seeking rental housing. Also, considering broader inflationary trends, the 3 to 5% increases for studio to 2-bedroom apartments are pretty moderate. But you may notice the 17.2% increase in rents for 3-bedroom apartments. So let's delve into that a little bit further and see what's going on. Next slide. The average 3-bedroom asking rent of $2,328 is only $108 above the affordable rent for this unit size at the 60% of area median income level. So it's still pretty moderate. 3-bedroom apartment rents in general are 38% less than the county average, whereas 2-bedroom apartments are 26% less than the average. So again, fairly affordable along the Pike. Demand for 3-bedroom apartments remains high because they make up only 6% of the apartment stock in the county. So the rent increase in this segment seems to be responding to the combination of two factors: the relative scarcity of 3-bedroom apartments countywide and the large difference in rents for these units from the county average. Next slide. This chart helps illustrate the relative affordability of rental options along Columbia Pike. There are two types of rental units that are shown in the pie chart: market rate rental units and committed affordable units. And of the total 11,000 plus units, approximately 1/3 are now committed affordable. This share is largely due to the Barcroft acquisition, which shifted units from the market share to committed affordable, even though rents stayed relatively in the same range. The majority of rental units along the Pike remain affordable at the 60% of area median income level. However, we also have seen a shift of about 400 apartments from the market rate affordable at 80% to market rate with rents above 80%. So there is still some shifting going on there. Next slide. So I'm just going to wrap up with a brief look at homeownership. So you all may recall from some of my remarks last year that the overall production of ownership units has been low in comparison to rental units over the last decade, and that's a countywide trend. So as a result, average sales prices have been rising and homeownership is becoming increasingly out of reach for a lot of Arlingtonians. While most of the county's affordable housing efforts focus on rental housing, we do have some affordable ownership units in our portfolio as well, including along the Pike. So an example of this along the Columbia Pike corridor is the Axumite Village project, which is 4 affordable dwelling units. And these units are required to be affordable at 80% of the area median income and can only be sold to a buyer with a household income below 80% of AMI. So at the end of this last year, we launched a homeownership study. And this study includes an analysis of the barriers to homeownership and a review of current homeownership programs with recommendations expected in calendar year 2023. So stay tuned. And hopefully next year when we come back for this conversation, I'll have another update on that for you. So that concludes our presentation. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Emily. Let's move on to DES, Department of Environmental Services. With us today are Mike Moon, Wei Wang, and Susan Fanati. Welcome.
Thank you. Next slide, please. And the next. Thank you. My name is Hui Wan. I started as the Deputy Director for DES, overseeing transportation and development, just at the beginning of this year. Prior to this assignment, I was leading the Transportation Engineering and Operations Bureau for 6 years. So I'm very excited and looking forward to working with you more closely and make our community more vibrant. I'm going to introduce the agenda for DES. We have transportation updates, which will be led by Susan Fanati, and then the facilities updates, and Mike Moon will step in to present that part. Thank you. Susan.
Next slide, please. Thank you for having us. The Columbia Pike Multimodal Project. If many of you don't know, the goal of the project is to make Columbia Pike a safer, more accessible route for all users. And by doing this, we're transforming the Pike into a complete street that balances all modes. I'm glad to report that segment H and I, which is between the county line and 4 Mile Run, had a celebration in November. Deidre brought that up. It was a joint celebration of the completion of the Columbia Pike Multimodal for the segment, as well as the installation of the art project. As we move on, segment F between Wakefield and Oakland, it's currently under construction, and as Christian mentioned, it is undergoing probably some painful detours and all, but we expect that to be done in 2025. A lot of that work requires the duct system for the overheads going underground, and which doesn't appear you're seeing anything right now. That's because all the work's happening underground. Segment A will be going from Orem to Joyce, is actually a federal project. It's actually a county project, then federal project. Between Orem and Oak is the county's project. That's a multimodal project. And between Oak, or Nash, I should say, and South Joyce is the federal project. That's the Defense Access Road project. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the county's portion is going to construction next month. And that's about, we expect that to be done in fall of 2024. So just over a year for that. Segment C and D, which is between Garfield and Quinn, is going out. The design is complete on that, and that project will be going out to bid this spring. We will expect to have Washington Gas will need to move their utilities prior to that, realign the Washington Gas. So we are waiting for that. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the South Oak Street and South Joyce of the FHWA Federal Highway Defense Access Road project from South Joyce, or from South Oak to South Joyce, is currently under construction. As you can see in the picture, they have closed South or Columbia Pike between east, I should say, east of Nash to South Joyce, for preparation of the realignment of the Pike in that area. And the detour is on South Nash to Southgate Road. As part of this, we have relocated the bus stops in this location off by the Air Force Memorial off of Columbia Pike and onto Southgate Road. And there also is access to the Air Force Memorial off of Southgate Road. There's temporary pedestrian and bike access along South Nash Street and Southgate Road. We continue to work with FHWA on any issues that are going on that, but that's all in construction and we are working with them. Next slide, please. For the transportation project updates, we have the first 5 transit stations open. These opened in December and January. We have both segments, or both eastbound and westbound station at South Greenbrier Street open. Deidre had talked about the transit station and the artwork that was incorporated on that. And you can see this is at South Greenbrier Street. In January, We had the South Dinwiddie Street westbound, 4 Mile Run westbound, and South Buchanan eastbound station that were open. And upcoming will be the South Glebe Road, South Oakland, and South Columbus Street. The next steps for the transit stations is working with Dominion to get them hooked up to the power grid, and then WMATA for real-time arrival information. Next slide, please. And lastly, on my part, we have Columbia Pike Forward as our website. The county staff is working with outside source to provide updates and outreach efforts. We have been going out to various areas of the county on the Pike for to do outreach and sign up folks. But please go to Columbia Pike Forward and feel free to sign up. I'll turn it over to Mike now.
The next slide. Yeah, so real quickly, because I'll do a summary of these three slides. This transit strategic plan is underway in the county. We do that update approximately every 5 years. Very important to identify service improvement needs in the county. I just note that the project studies started in 2022, and we engaged the public starting in October of 2022. Another opportunity for public engagement in spring of 2023. And if you have additional questions, very important along the Pike as a premium transit network, Lynn Rivers will join us in the breakout session. Next slide. Yeah, and so the SunTrust site is an important project for us, home of future library that will be removed when the Career Center starts with APS, or the school starts that Career Center project in 2025. We do have some use GLUP amendment rezoning that's necessary. In the interim, we do plan to put in a commercial parking area that can support community parking needs in the area. And so additional information can be provided in the breakout session concerning this project. It is in their CIP at a cost of a little over $30 million. Next slide. And then the Columbia Pike West End Fire Station, real quickly, looking at this as a future project for us to provide a West End Fire Station. Very important for coverage. Currently, mutual aid and some of the current county fire stations do provide service for the area, but this will be an important for public safety coverage in the area. A very important project. Plan to start the actual design construction in the 24-25 timeframe. And this project is a $35 million project on the Pike. Just note real quickly, the hillside there, a lot of grading on this project to get it built. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. And thank you to Wei and Wang, or Wei and Susan, excuse me. DPR, Department of Parks and Recreation. Our last presenters today, welcome to Cheryl and Eric. Thank you.
Next slide. So I'm Cheryl Johnson, the Community Recreation Division Chief, and I am going to fly through and give you an overview of DPR's park projects, places, programs on and around the Pike, where we create community for everyone, everywhere, every day. Next. The county offers a wide range of indoor and outdoor recreational opportunities for people and areas for their pets. I will start with parks and give an overview of Columbia Pike projects that are recently completed, are in progress, or upcoming. Now, I am no expert with capital projects, so my colleague Eric Beach, the Park Development Division Chief, is with me and will be part of the breakout session if you have additional questions. Next. So I want to start with Tower Parks, which is recently completed. It was completed in quarter 2022, and that completion was the replacement of the playground equipment. It moved equipment outside the resource protection area, and it had reforestation. Next. Then we have Alcova Heights Park, which is our project in progress, and it's slated to be completed by the third quarter of 2023. This project includes the replacement of the large picnic shelter, the sand volleyball area, the renovation of the restrooms, the basketball court and lights, and the improvement of the fire pit, circulations, and the stairs. Next. These are our upcoming projects. That's Bailey Branch and Penrose Square. The upcoming project for Bailey's branch is it's currently in its design phase for 2023, and it will include looking at like accessibility improvements. It will update play equipment, site furnishings, signage, removing invasive plants and adding native trees and a pollinator plant. Penrose Square has an anticipated design phase in fiscal year 2026 and construction for 2028. Next. So with our parks comes additional, and one is alcohol in our parks. So the county board recently adopted the amendment to section 17-2 of the county code, where they added Penrose Square and Long Bridge Park to the list of public parks where alcohol beverages can be sold under permit during special events. So moving into our 2023 event season, special event organizers may now apply for a permit to sell alcohol in those parks, along with the other ones, which are the Clarendon Central Park, Fort C.F. Smith Park, and Gateway Park. Under the county special events policy, all event applications are reviewed by Arlington's Special Events Committee, which includes staff from our Arlington Police Department and Parks and Recreation. Next. Our locations, our places on the Pike are Arlington Mill, Carver, and Walter Reed. Arlington Mill vaccination operations really ended in the gym in July of 2022, and we are now using the gym. We're back to scheduling it for our youth and tot play for adult basketball leagues, youth basketball leagues, 55+ programs, and a variety of other drop-in sports, including basketball and pickleball. The rink at at Arlington Mill was removed and in the gymnasium, so the adult floor hockey program was eliminated. This change created new opportunities for pickleball and other drop-in time for the community. At Carver, the Community Recreation Youth Basketball League returned to Carver, as well as Walter Reed and Arlington Mill as game sites this winter. Our basketball program serves over 4,600 participants countywide for grades 1 through 12. At Walter Reed, the vaccination operations left Walter Reed Gym in March of 2020, and now it's up and operational with 55+ programs, the youth basketball leagues, and drop-in sports. And then in October of 2020, the vaccinations left altogether, and DPR is able to utilize the other spaces that it was using. The grass fields at our Carver Community Center continue to be scheduled for youth soccer and ultimate soccer. And we are back operational in all 3 buildings. Next slide. DPR has conducted a countywide engagement to address pickleball. Yes, the very popular pickleball and the additional need for courts. Walter Reed was selected and has been funded through the CIP for a development to dedicate pickleball as a facility there at Walter Reed. DPR will conduct special engagement opportunities related to the developing plans for Walter Reed Pickleball as a facility. So they started at January 31st and it goes through February 28th, where you can provide online feedback through a survey. So look at our webpage for that. And then February 16th, there will be an in-person community meeting from 7 to 8:30 at Walter Reed. Next slide. I just like this slide because it shows that we are, trying to get back to some sense of normalcy. Next. So on our journey to normalcy, the staff shifted to virtual programs, outdoor programs, and take-home kits. So we are continuing with classes, virtual art classes, We've done virtual special events like Paint, Build, Create, where 200 kits were provided and pre-recorded activity videos were on YouTube and Facebook. We continue with our nature programs, our Rec on Wheels, which is our mobile program that goes to parks and conducts free structured activities for youth in our parks. And then we have the 55 plus, which continues with their virtual programs on their own. And they also are working in conjunction through the Northern Virginia Virtual Center for Active Adults. This is where Fairfax, Prince William, and Arlington County are joining together to provide and offer virtual programs to adults and adults with disabilities. It's very important for us to do that so that these people can maintain connections with and maintain social interactions with their peers and minimize feeling of social isolation. Our next one, okay. 55 plus programs are up and running in Arlington Mill and Walter Reed. Actually, in Arlington Mill, we average 184 programs a month. In Walter Reed, we average 261 programs a month. These are duplicated efforts. There may be a class that runs 2 or 3 times a week, but on average, that's how many programs we're running out of those 2. Next. To do our highlights, the Internet Access for Seniors is a partnership with the Arlington Alliance for Senior Programs, which is a 501c3, and they partner with Comcast Internet Essentials to help with the cost of high-speed broadband for Arlington seniors. The Alliance paid for the service for up to 1 year for some seniors. They held affordable connectivity fairs at Walter Reed, and where trained volunteers assisted participants to register for affordable connectivity programs. To date, the Alliance has conducted 5 series of classes with a total of 28 participants and have 2 new classes going on, one at Walter Reed with 5 participants, and the other is at the Springs, which is an APA-owned affordable housing complex with 7 participants. Currently, they are still paying internet services for 5 participants, but they hope to be able to connect them with the Affordable Connecting Fairs where they would be able to join that program. Another spotlight is the Family Nights at Carver. Family Nights of Carver have returned since 2020, and they are averaging somewhere between 100 and 150 participants per event. And we can take up anything else at our breakout sessions. However, I'd like to thank you and say Columbia Pike area is an important part of our Arlington identity. As we focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, we want to ensure that the Pike stays vibrant and has access to all of our parks, places, and programs. It is all made possible by the people you see on the screen, our staff, as they are the heartbeat and creative arms of our organization. So thank you for inviting me to highlight our places, parks, and programs.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. All right, so breakout rooms, which everyone has been waiting on. Kim, did you want to speak real quickly to the Pike Progress Luncheon?
If you don't mind, real quick, go back 1 slide. Yeah. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. We've had over 150 participants. Please stay for the breakout sessions to learn more. But if you really care about how the Pike is evolving and changing and how we're trying to sustain our diversity as all of this change and evolution happens, please join us at the Pike Progress Luncheon on April 20th. We will go ahead and throw a link in the chat. But again, thank you so much for being here and thank you for learning and sharing with us. Appreciate it. Back to you, Adam.
All right, breakout rooms. Next slide, please. All right, so to join a breakout room, if you look at your at the bottom of your screen, you should see, it was just popped up there, a breakout room. Click on that little icon. Once you get in there, there will be 6 breakout rooms, 1 for each department of the county that has presented today. You can leave at any time, come back to the main room, leave a particular breakout room and join another one. As we're showing here, just right in the corner, it says leave room. It's very easy to do. As we did during all the presentations, please use the chat function, or in the breakout rooms, raise your hand to ask questions. Just make sure that we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to ask what they need to, and has their questions answered and engaged. So the breakout rooms, little correction here, since we've been running a little bit long, the breakout rooms will be open for 15 minutes starting now, and we'll come back right before 1 to wrap things up. So choose your breakout room, and we'll see you in 15. All right, welcome back, everyone. Andrea, do we have our slides? All right, so I'd just like to thank all of our participants from the county who joined us today, and also thank all of you for coming to this second annual State of the Pike. As we mentioned at the beginning, this has been recorded. We will the Columbia Pike Partnership will be releasing it later, along with the presentations. So look for an announcement on that soon. And I would like to at this point turn it over to the Executive Director of the Columbia Pike Partnership, Kim Klingler, for a few closing remarks. Kim.
Adam, thank you so much. And again, to just echo Adam's comments, we could not do this without our partners. There is so much going on with Columbia Pike right now, and it really truly takes a village. I'm so excited about how many developers, property owners, managers, residents, businesses, etc., that joined us today. And we want to make sure that we continue to partner with you. Andrea, I know I'm asking a lot, but if you could put the partnership link in the chat before we close out today, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again, all of you, for joining. Oh yes, and thank you for the reminder. Once again, the Columbia Pike Progress Luncheon will be on April 20th. It will be in person. It will be at the top of the Sheraton. And if you've never seen the views from the top of the Sheraton, you definitely need to come. Not just to see the views also, but to also hear from the speakers. So stay tuned. We'll put that back in the chat again. And Adam, I'm just going to turn it back to you to close out.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Again, thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. To echo Kim, it is a partnership. Please, if you've not joined the Columbia Pike Partnership, check out their website and join today. And thank you again for coming and supporting this wonderful, diverse community that we have on Columbia Pike. Until next year, have a good afternoon.